What's up, YouTube? So today's topic, I'm gonna talk about the reasons or like how you can use your spiritual knowledge or how you can use like esoteric knowledge or like self healing, like spiritual information that we see in today's timeline. That's all over YouTube. How you can use it to your advantage. How you can use your spiritual wisdom, your spiritual information that you get from YouTubers that helped you on the spiritual path, how you can use spirituality to your advantage, navigating through this world, right? Now, I will make a part two because it's gonna be like a long. It's gonna be a long series, but it's kind of late at night, so but I want to get this off my mind. So, um, I might be all over the place, but how you can use spirituality to your advantage, right? Let's get to it. So just the fact that you can see that, like, or at least for me, I can see that like everything's controlled by money. We're being enslaved. There's no doubt. We can all see that we're being slaves. A lot of people are forced to work at these jobs they don't want to be in. People are forced to work at these 9 to 5 jobs they don't want to be in, right? In order for them to make income. People are being overworked and underpaid. We're in 2023, we still have homeless people, we still have people in poverty, right? So like money without a doubt controls our lives. You can't travel around the world, you can't buy the things you want, you can't buy a car, you can't meet different types of people without money. You can't go from point A to point B without money. You can't you gotta pay money just to travel. Why do I say that? When you want to go from if you want to visit a different city or different area, you gotta take Uber. You gotta take Uber, you gotta take a Lyft, you gotta pay for that shit. You gotta pay for a bus stop. You gotta fucking save up money so you can buy a car so you can travel around the world, right? So money without a doubt controls whether we meet different types of people or we're to travel, right? You can't if you don't work, if you don't have enough, and you don't have money, you can't have your own place. You can't have good hygiene. You can't navigate through the system if you're lacking in finances. So finances without doubt controls us. A lot of people are there's a lot of like divorces, wars and battles and conflicts and relationship problems because of money. I'm not saying money is evil. What I'm saying is that we have a huge imbalance with the money system due to corrupt government, due to the corrupt elites and all those other people, right? So just the fact that you have that knowledge, it'll get you ahead of life, knowing that like, and there's different ways. So when it comes to spirituality, people talk about how if you're in the right frequency, if you're following your purpose, if you're in the right path, you can actually attract money endlessly because when you're on the right purpose, the money will come to you. Shout out to Chauncey One. Subscribe to Chauncey One's YouTube channel. He mentioned that. He mentioned that like when you're in the right alignment, when you're constantly doing the proper healing work, when you're acting yourself, the purpose of doing the healing work is to heal yourself so you can clear blockages and shit like that through fasting, through yoga, through like therapy sessions, through meditations. It depends on the person, but shout out to Chauncey One. That's what he mentioned. He mentioned that, and he's right. And there's other people that could confirm that. So money is an energy thing. It's frequency. And Chauncey One also mentioned that like your spirit is gonna back you up. Your spirit is not gonna put you in situations where like if you're pursuing your passions and your purpose, the spirit is not gonna leave you hanging. You need to survive. So the spirit is gonna reward you with like finances so you can get by throughout life, right? And it gets deep. There's layers to this shit. But shout out to Chauncey One. So when you're into spirituality, you're not gonna look at money as like where you have to be forced to do some bullshit just to get it. I mean that is true to a certain extent, but more so if you're constantly doing the proper healing work, if you're like meditating, eating healthy, exercising, clearing blockages, clearing trauma, and having the courage to follow your heart and to be yourself, the money will come to you. It may take some time, but eventually the money will come to you. So you gotta keep following your purpose and your passions, right? And even if you are doing it, more than likely you're probably not gonna be worried about money because you're so excited and consumed with following your purpose and following your passions. You just got to do a lot of soul searching, right? So another reason why spirituality could help you navigate through this world and be successful is to you recognize that time is speeding up. So the days are going by a lot faster and time is speeding up. So since time is speeding up, you have other spiritual channels like Chauncey One and other YouTubers as well who talk about like the days are going by a lot faster. So since you're aware that the days are going by a lot faster and time is speeding up, you can incorporate fasting. You cannot eat as much food. You can like, and since time is speeding up, you're gonna learn about fasting. And fasting and time speeding up correlates because it takes so much time to eat food. So the more you fast, the more healthier you get. But not only that, but since you have the awareness and you study a lot of spirituality, that like you're aware that the days are going by a lot faster. you could use that to your advantage by sacrificing things that's not serving you. So I use my life for example. Me, I used to eat a lot and it used to take so much time, but now that time is speeding up. I'm cutting back on how much I eat. I probably eat like one times a day, but while I'm working at my job, I used to take lunch breaks. But since the days are going by a lot faster, I'll take breaks, so I don't have to kill. So I don't have to waste time as much. Now I'm able to get more tasks and things done throughout the day, and that's what I mean. So if you study spirituality, if you're aware that time is speeding up, you can use that to your advantage. You can use that to your advantage, because you see my my example, how I'm killing time, how I'm preventing myself from wasting time, and I'm able to get more things done throughout the day, right? While the average person, they're not aware of that, like the days and time is speeding up fast, so they'll continue doing some bullshit that's gonna kill time, that's gonna waste some time, right? You know what I'm saying? And if you're aware that time is speeding up, you're gonna be aware that like a lot of people's sleeping schedules and eating patterns are not really accurate compared to back then. It's very we're not even sleeping. We're taking naps. We're not even eating. Like we're pretty much like 3 to 5 hours ahead. So this is why when you eat one full meal, it's like you're full throughout the day. Versus back then, before time was speeding up, before in the early 2000s, you could eat 3 meals. But now in this timeline, you can only eat one meal and you'll be good, right? So try to eat less. Try to like. I'm not saying what you should do, but for me, so what I'll do is I'll eat less, and then I'll take some naps here and there, and then I'll focus on my late night studying, and that's how you could have time work in your favor. While other people, they don't have spiritual knowledge, they're living life by a normal schedule. With you, since you have knowledge that time is speeding up, you could adjust your schedule every day, and that'll get you an edge. That'll get you an advantage over people, right? And all that comes to spirituality. Spirituality is part of life. Spirituality is life. Probably the term or word is wrong, but the more you learn about wisdom and spirituality, the more it can help navigate you through life successfully. And there's a lot of layers to it. I suggest subscribing to Chauncey one on his live, because he goes into depth about it and he makes sense. It's a lot to explain. It's very complex. Like it's not complex. It's a lot to explain. Like this is why you got to do the healing work. You got to be in the right alignment, and things will come towards you. But it takes time to do that. But you must take action. You know. But another reason why how you can use spirituality to your advantage is of course you recognize the corruption in this world. So play by the game, but try to like play by the rules, but try to scam that shit. So we all know money's bullshit, right? We all know time is speeding up. We all know that we're being ruled by a bunch of sick ass people, by corrupt government and shit like that, right? So and the days are going by a lot faster, and money's bullshit. You can really attract that. Money is man-made. Money is just fucking paper, but it's a frequency, it's an energy, because a lot of people give it energy, right? For like thousands of years, or at least hundreds of years. So, where was I? I kind of lost my train of thought. Fuck. Hang on, give me 1 second. I want to gather my thoughts. Oh yeah, okay, so. And Chauncey one mentioned this too. I know I mentioned his name a lot, but he goes into detail. So he talks about like creating your own system and making your own system and navigating through the system, right? Where you could create your own system, you could create your own bank account, you could create your own money system, you could create your own fucking ideal life for people to live in, right? And that's the goal. I understand everyone's purpose is different, but it is ideal to create your own system. So if you hate this system, if you hate the enslavement, if you hate the corruption, Chauncey mentioned that like you can actually use this system to your advantage. It's the same people who makes millions and billions of dollars, they help this corrupt government that's not doing anything, because look what the fuck's going on with thousands of years. Ain't shit happening, right? So he mentioned that like you can actually use the system to your advantage by creating your own system. So basically make as much money as you possibly can. And how can you make money as much as you can? By showcasing your talents, doing a lot of healing work, following your heart, the same as following your passions and following your purpose. Do a lot of soul searching, so you'll figure out your passion and what your purpose is, so you know what you came here to do. But also let life play out, because it takes time and we don't have as much free will. But that's a different topic. But also do the healing work, know more about yourself, do a lot of soul searching, follow your heart, follow your passions, showcase your God-given gifts, your talents and your skills. Everyone has talents and skills. You just got to learn how to showcase it to make it work for you. By like, I'm using me for example. Let's say for example I'm good at talking and communication and speaking, right? So for example, I'll make YouTube videos, and make a Patreon, and I can make money through there. And you see how I'm generating money and while I'm working at a job, right? So I'm constantly making money. I'm trying to find ways to make money, and that's a minor example, but you don't have to use shit like that. There's different apps, there's different online resources and different opportunities where you can make yourself more money. You can even invest into crypto, Bitcoin. I don't know too much about it, but you can make money a lot like that too. But we all have God given gifts and talents, so use that to the best of your ability. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then once you make enough money, maybe you could create your own business and you can make your own system to where like people will work for you, or if you want to end some type of corruption, try to make some changes that will end this corruption. Your goal is to like make a lot of money, and obviously enjoy it, do what you got to do, and use it to your talents and gifts. But try to also use it in a way to create your own system or to help end this fucking world corruption, right? To make it better. And it gets complicated, but there are levels to this shit. Or like there's a lot of things to explain, but use this system to your advantage so you could go against the system. That makes sense. And shout out to Chauncey one, because when you mentioned that, you kind of gave me an eye opener, you know. So also, how you can use spirituality to your advantage is that fact that when people study spirituality, when people watch all these spiritual channels, right? Like New Mind Frame, Chauncey one, Sirius in the Temple, there's Young Pharaoh, and there's so much channels out there that talk about spirituality. So many channels, right? And what you gotta do is try to come up with your own conclusion. Try to find channels that resonate with you, and try to come up with your own conclusion on how you should navigate through this world. But since there's so much spiritual information out there, you can use it to your advantage, because spirituality is part of life. And how these people explain, like they talk about healing, they talk about like they break down the corruption of the system, they break down how the human mind works. Spirituality is pretty much, it is life. So it's like spirituality deals with psychology, it deals with like world corruption, it deals with like healing and self-development and self-growth and evolution and trauma and shadow work and all this other shit, and astrology as well. So it deals with all that shit. But also how you can use spirituality, your spiritual knowledge and wisdom to your advantage to help you navigate through this world is astrology. So the more spirituality you know, the more that astrology also comes hand in hand, because astrology, like I said, spirituality is part of life. So astrology is part of life. So if you're aware of like the full moon cycles, the Mercury retrogrades, or how like different planets align with the stars in a certain way, which will give out a certain type of energy, or if we're like Saturn in Pisces, or we have like a Leo and retrograde that's going on right now, you can use this to your advantage. So if you're aware that like if you have a Mercury retrograde coming up, you're gonna be aware that like a lot of people tend to be triggered, they tend to act up, and they tend to be on a bad mood, and the electronics seem to malfunction, right? And a lot of other shit. So you can use that and plan ahead of time. So you could watch out for like people that are trying to sideswipe you, or people that are trying to start some shit with you, and that will force you to get off track. If you didn't know about spirituality, if you never studied astrology, then you're gonna feed into that energy. You're gonna feed into these fucking people who like to project and start shit with you. But since you have so much awareness of astrology and spirituality, you could plan ahead of time and knowing that like, okay, we're gonna have a Mercury in retrograde ahead of time. So I'm aware that like people, they're tending to be they might act up. They're gonna be very aggravated and aggressive. I might just ignore it. I'm not gonna feed into the energy. Instead, I'm gonna use it to do my own healing, since it deals with triggers and trauma. I'm focused on my own healing, and I'm gonna stay in my lane and focus on what I need to do to get the job done, so I can build a better life for myself. And you know what I'm saying? So it will force you to be more focused and not to feed into drama and bullshit like that. But there's so much shit when it comes to astrology, but it's just a lot to explain, and I'm tired, and I'll make a part two. But also with astrology, it deals with like, you know how there's certain full moon cycles and shit like that. So, and there's people who do different practices with these they call it full moon rituals, where like they're able to attract the things they want, or they tend to use these full moon energies, because these full moon energies are very powerful. So some people use it to visualize, some people use certain types of like rituals to like they or some type of like magic, whatever, like black magic or some shit like that, where like it'll help them do like the proper healing work, or so they could help them attract like maybe money or certain types of like things they want out of life through their desires, right? I'm not sure. I do believe in it, but I'm not sure that's the right way to go about it. I think it is the right way to go about it. You just gotta do what you gotta do to navigate through this world, right? So it's not a bad thing. If anything, it's a smart thing. If that is like the case, if that is true, what these people claim to do, then you can use that. You can look more into it, and you can use these full moon cycles to your advantage by doing certain rituals or during certain routines to where like you're able to, or visualizations, so you can attract the things you want out of life, or you can also use it to do the proper healing work through shadow work, right? Because since full moons, these full moon signs, I mean these full moon energies are so intense, so why not use it to the best of your ability, right? Easier said than done, but it's possible. Also, since you know more about spirituality, you're gonna learn more about fasting. You're gonna learn more about meditations. You're gonna learn more about breath work and shit like that. So, for example, if you're gonna practice intermediate fasting, because if you're aware that when it comes to spirituality, when you do a lot of fasting, it correlates to the human mind and body and spirit, right? So the more you fast, the more it's gonna heal your human body's digestive system. It's gonna heal like your blood circulation and how you think. This is why when people fast, and Chauncey One, he talks about this as well. So subscribe to his channel. But he talks about when you fast, right? You're gonna like you're gonna have more reflexes. You're gonna have more self awareness. Your mind is gonna expand even more. You're gonna have more clear thinking. You're gonna have a faster thought process and better communications, and you're able to tap in more to your creative abilities the more you fast. It's gonna be hard at first because since you're so used to, more than likely watching this, you're not used to fasting. Well, a lot of people aren't used to fasting. I still struggle with this as well, but when you fast, you're gonna go through withdrawal symptoms. So your body's gonna feel sluggish. It's gonna feel tired. It's gonna feel all this shit. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just your body's going through a withdrawal. It just takes time, you know. So start off slow, then gradually build yourself back up. It's just like when you're building muscle. You can't go all hard at once. You can, but it's gonna feel sore. Just it takes time to grow. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with fasting. It's just a human muscle. And the more you fast, the more you're able to generate a lot more energy, because you don't have to rely on eating fucking food every fucking hour or some shit like that. It's just time is speeding up. Like I mentioned before, it's gonna correlate with fasting. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Chauncey One, because he also mentioned that he mentions about fasting. He's really good at fasting. Check out his channel. He talks about time speeding up. He talks about fasting, how it correlates, and you can actually build up a lot of energy and momentum by doing those practices, right, on a daily basis. It's not necessarily a practice. It's more so a lifestyle. And the more you do it, the more you're able to kill a lot of time, so you get more things done throughout the day, and you're more healthier, right? And shout out to Chauncey One. But he also talks about meditations and breath work. So since you're using spirituality to your advantage, you can use a lot of meditations and breath work to your advantage. So the more you meditate, the more you're doing breath work, you're healing the nervous system, you're healing your heart rate, and you're calming your body and your nerves down. So try to practice meditations and breath work every single day, because living in this matrix, living in this society, it gets extremely stressful. And when you're constantly around different peoples, and a lot of people have energies, so every human being has an energy. So if you're constantly surrounded by like people's energy, some people have so much types of energy. Some people have toxic energy, some people have negative energy, some people have like just people are going through trauma and pain. And since you're constantly around people, more than likely you are, because the average person works at a 9-to-5 job and always around people and shit. So your aura, your body is going to be surrounded by so much people's energies. It's always good to cleanse. Some people use like sage. Some people use like salt baths. You could try out. Some people do meditations and yoga. But with me, I like to do meditations and stuff. That way helps me calm my nervous system down. So if you ever meet someone that's very anxious, or if you're like naturally like me, like I'm a very anxious, nervous person, right? I get overwhelmed easily. So I'll do a lot of meditations that will help me a lot. And some people can also use meditations through like binaural beats and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a long video. There's so much there's so much things you could do, man, when it comes to spirituality. Because I mean, it makes sense. Because spirituality is not like a hobby. It's not like a side thing. No, it's part of life. It's part of is life. Spirituality is part of life. That's the main thing. Every successful, famous person you see, they do spirituality. I don't like the word. Like, it's not the word spirituality is not even like the word is wrong too. It's like it's more so view spirituality as life. You know what I'm saying? Use those practices, and again, it's gonna be a short video, but it's a lot to explain. I'll make a whole series about it. And shout out to Chauncey One and all these other YouTubers like Nehemiah Frame and all these other people, because I got this information from them. I'm just trying to use the information to help you guys on how you guys can apply it to your lives. And they do talk about it. I just like to share information that I've learned from people I respect and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But that I always learn from. But what else? There's so much things, man. So if you want to learn more about spirituality and how you can use it to better your life, I recommend the channels. Is Chauncey One, New Mind Frame. And there's many other channels as well. But also definitely study about astrology, study about shadow work, trauma, healing, study about again it's I'm gonna start all over because I talk fast. So one, study about astrology, study about how the planets work, how the stars work, study about like study your birth chart, study, just type in astrology, type in your birth chart, type in what this houses means when it comes to astrology, type in Mercury retrogrades, full moon cycles, and what they mean. You can also type in how to what is the purpose of shadow work, how to heal trauma, therapy work, different practices where you can heal the human body, like human nervous system. There's different types of therapies you could look into, but also look up shadow work and healing. And when it comes to healing, you could like simply cry out all the shit that's pissing you off, that's causing you trauma and pain. You could cry it out. You could like release your anger, do screaming, do working out, do studying yourself and stuff like that. Also do a lot of soul searching and study yourself. Know more about yourself. Know what you like. Know what you don't like. Know the types of people you like to be around. Know the types of people you don't want to be around. And know more about yourself. Study yourself to the core. The more you know about yourself, the more you're able to get through life, because the more things you want out of life, and in return you're gonna be focused on the things you want because you know so much about yourself. So it's a lot. Also, study about fasting, study about yoga, study about meditations and breath work. I recommend watching Chauncey One because he talks about, and he does those. He talks about fasting. He talks about breath work. He talks about yoga stretches. He does those practices. You know what I'm saying? And the benefits of it. Also recommend. I would say time speeding up. You can watch Chauncey One, and I look up my playlist. I also have a playlist that talks about time speeding up. I have a whole series of time speeding up. So and I got these from other people. So the main sources I get it from is like Chauncey One, Sirius Inner Temple. He talks about time speeding up, and there's many others channels that talk about time speeding up as well. So also learn about or you can study. Just eat healthy, eat more fruits, and regardless of your diet, it's obviously fast, but if you're gonna eat, try to intake more fruits and vegetables, because it's alkaline and shit like that. And it's just, or if you don't believe in that, just try to eat as healthy as possible. Everyone's body is different. Listen to your body. So you know what I'm saying. There's a lot of other things as well, and I'm gonna make a series because I know I'm all over the place, but I just want to get this off my mind. Also learn about world corruption, learn about corrupt government, learn about learn about how much of a scam the money system is. Recognize how corrupt the system is. Learn more about world corruption, and there's a lot of spiritual channels that talk about this. You can also watch Chauncey One because he exposes world corruption as well. So in order for you to know the type of life you want, you have to know more about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, but you also have to study about how this world operates from a spiritual perspective and from a worldly perspective, how corrupt the money system is, who's in control of this corruption and why it's taking place, How long has it been going on, and what's the agenda of why this world's so corrupted? What do they want from us? You know what I'm saying? So and study about energy, and study about like also study about like different beings. Study about narcissism. Study about narcissistic personality disorder. Study about psychopaths. Study about mental health issues. And spiritual warfare. Learn about spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare, in my opinion, is a real thing. I've experienced that shit in a lot of people as well. Study about like gang stalking. I mean, when I say study it, I'm not saying be paranoid, because I don't want people to attract those things into their life. Because the more you put your focus onto something, the more you're gonna attract it. So I'm very mindful, but just at least have the awareness of it. But don't let it. Don't attract it. Don't be paranoid about it, because it's really not a big thing. It's more so a thing where like if you experience some weird shit, there's an answer to it, and there's a reason, and but there are ways to overcome it and solutions. You know what I'm saying? So don't get paranoid when it comes to gang stalking and spiritual warfare like that. It's just a normal thing, but definitely study about narcissism, because a lot of people in this matrix, in this world, a lot of people have trauma. A lot of people have trauma they're not even aware that they have. A lot of people are influenced by negative entities and negative beings that we can't even see, like spirits, shit like that intake in people's bodies, or like demonic possessions. Or there's also like spirits that tend to manipulate other people's minds who are vibrating at a low level due to trauma, due to pain and suffering. This shit is a real thing. So study about narcissism. Study. There's a channel I recommend for narcissism, like learning about it. There's so many channels, but there's one guy, Des Moss. So DEZMOS. And type in narcissist. Like he has a whole playlist. Give me 1 second. I'm actually gonna type it right now. Hang on. I'm gonna look through my phone. I mean, through my laptop real quick. Cause I want you guys to know about this shit. Hang on. Give me 1 second. Hang on. Okay, so his channel name is DENZOMOS, Breaking Empaths Free. So Denzo Moss, Breaking Empaths Free. Shout out to him, because he goes into detail about narcissism and narcissistic people. And he also, the reason why I mentioned his channel, because he has a lot of information, but also he goes into a spiritual, so he talks about spirituality, and he talks about the spiritual sides of narcissism. Like he talks about like the fucking Jezebel spirit, being an empath, and how energy plays out. And there's a lot of other channels that talk about narcissists, but the reason why I recommend his channel, because he talks about spirituality, and they both go hand in hand. So Denzo Moss, Breaking Empaths Free. DENZOMOS, Breaking Empaths Free. If you want to learn about spirituality and how it can better your life, learn about narcissism, learn about the human psychology, and learn how, and that plays a role. But I feel like it's important to learn more about the spiritual side of things as well. Yes, it's good to learn about worldly things and why people act the way they do based on a human level, but I also believe there's a spiritual side to it also. So, you know what I'm saying? And the channels I recommend when it comes to spirituality that I love to watch is Chauncey One, New Mind Frame, Denzel Moss, Breaking Free. You have other channels like that I used to watch, like Young Pharaoh, Series Inner Temple. There's many others as well, you know what I'm saying? Many others. There's one guy, man, I forgot his name. Damn it. But yeah, but there's so much channels out there. So, like I said before, study about astrology, mental health, narcissism, shadow work, and trauma, what causes trauma and traumatic experiences. Study about spiritual warfare, study about the Jezebel spirit, study about, again, spiritual warfare. Learn about the world corruptions, learn about the Illuminati and just the people who rule this world. Learn about time speeding up. I have a whole playlist that talk about time speeding up. You also have Chauncey One. Learn about fasting, yoga, breath work, meditations. Study Chauncey Wan's channel as well. Watch his lives. Don't watch. Yes, he has videos that are informational, but he goes into detail with his lives. Watch his lives, okay? I really recommend that. And there's a lot of other things as well. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I gotta say. There's a lot more I want to say, but I'm gonna keep it short because I gotta get some sleep. But you can definitely use spirituality to your advantage, and just know that like life is short. So always follow your heart, do what you love, and don't let this system control you. Don't let negative people, mess with you. Just know that you're not alone, and just know that you're put here for a greater purpose. So it's always important to know more about yourself, to study yourself, to do the healing work, to just doing healthy things. Keep working out, keep eating healthy, keep just keep doing what you love, pursue what you love, stay out of trouble, and do what you got to do to improve your life. And just know that if you're experiencing some type of like phenomena, or like if you're experiencing some type of thing where like you just feel alone, just know that you're never alone, and that like there are people who could relate to you. So have a good one, and hopefully this video helps, and good luck to you. Peace.